All right, you ready?
Yeah. Which one? What are we doing?
So we can start it just like this, and then we just
Okay.
have like a candid conversation.
Okay. I can do that. I kind of maybe feel like I didn't bring it has like a magnetic.
Like the clip.
Yeah. It's okay. I need to see anything.
It's very important, I think.
It's very important.
Usually for me.
Okay.
Ready? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Kenny Jones, and today we have Celestine with us today. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Actually, I didn't expect us to be doing this outside, so I think that added like a whole new like level to the experience.
Yeah. I feel like, this is the best spot to be right now.
Definitely. So let's get into your background, where you're from, and what you do.
Yeah. Well, this would probably be a three-part question, or three-part answer, sorry. So I'm actually originally from the Philippines, and I grew up there until I was 16. Moved to Philadelphia. I was there for 10 years, and then now I'm in San Diego for 5 years, which is crazy. But I'm currently in Point Loma, and I have two businesses that I'm really, really passionate about. I have like a web design business where I help small businesses, entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, really kind of elevate their online experience. And I also have a second venture, which is Euflora, where I create custom succulent pieces as gifts, for friends or some property staging.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think got you into those things? Because I feel like there's never like a job fair. It's like, oh, you're gonna be like a web designer, or like, oh, like you like plants, you can do this.
Yeah. It's a pretty interesting trajectory, actually. So when I was in Philadelphia, I was freelancing a little bit in design, mostly because I was blogging at the time. I used to blog about coffee, and that's how I met a lot of like some really cool San Diego creatives, actually.
Right.
Anyway, that kind of snowballed into its own thing, and I ended up having a business partner, and so her and I would tackle design stuff together. Fast forward, she's still in Philly, and I moved to San Diego, and after years in coffee, I said I really kind of want to do my own thing now. And so I was trying to figure out what I'm innately good at, and how can I package that or make it useful to someone else. And I realized that I'm really good at just organizing information, which is something that would be probably really like stark to other people, and a lot of people.
Right.
But I find that I could be really useful in that way, and so that gives me a lot of purpose. And with that part and like the tech part and the design part is like, okay, well, I'm really good at making websites, so why don't I just do that? And really started my freelancing based off of that. When I left West Bean, which that was where we were just at.
Yes.
I had a lot of my, old regulars saying like, oh, like, what are you gonna do now? So sad to see you go. And so I told them what my plans were freelancing, and so I had a lot of my first clients there. Just regulars that I've loved and have kind of we've been friends for a long time, and so it was like a natural progression of that relationship, which was really nice.
Definitely.
And then Euflora came about too last year. I'll give you a little backstory. I had one of my clients who was my regular that I met at West Bean. She had a succulent business that I was helping her out with, on the website end of things. And then I found out that she was like leaving the country. So I was like, hey, like, do you mind if I just,
That's extreme.
you know, buy some of like your old stuff? Like, I would love to just like have some at home and you know, get a chance to play around with them. I didn't even really think about starting a new business at that point. But it was just really serendipitous. And she said, well, you know, your timing couldn't have been more perfect. I'm just giving this stuff away. So come by, pick up, like take literally whatever you want, and I'll just donate the rest.
Wow.
So that's how I came about like a lot of my starter plants, my planters, and it was like a whole, this like entire inventory that I had to get storage for. There was just like a lot of stuff.
Right.
But that was like really lucky, and you know, like I never expected to have started a second business, I think, but like the opportunity presented itself, and I just thought, you know, it would be a shame if I didn't explore it at least.
Definitely.
You know, or gave it a real shot, like, you know, really give it a go and see how I can like make it more me, and you know, kind of connect back into that side of me that I had been missing, I think, for a while.
Definitely. Wow. I don't, like, the universe always just works perfectly, and I think that just like shocked me for like 2 seconds, you know, because like you could say you want to do something and the universe is like, no.
Yeah.
And then like you're talking about this and you're saying how it happened so perfectly is like,
yeah, within like a month I had the stuff.
wow.
And then like I was working on like my branding and stuff, and it was like, let's just do it, you know. Like there's one lady that I always follow, Marie Forleo, and she was always saying, you know, start before you're ready. Like the people who are really successful, you know, when you look back at their story, like nobody had it perfect. But
Right.
just start somewhere. You can always edit and you can always change course if you need to. But yeah, I was. That's really funny that you say kind of, you know, how the universe just kind of flows in that way and like took care of me
Right.
in that sense, which I still can't believe that either. Like I feel like I'm in a movie sometimes, like, or I have a lot of pinch me moments where, like that really happened.
Definitely.
You know, and when I tell the story, I get in shock. I was like, oh, that's right. Like you know, that's just such a crazy thing to have happen, and it happening all at once.
Right.
When I started Euflora, I was literally just, you know, closing out my first year of freelancing, and it all just like exploded. So I was like, okay, I'm ready, universe.
Right.
You know?
I think that's the only thing you can do at that point too.
Be receptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the open doors to walk into.
Yeah. There's this really interesting book called Big Magic. It's written by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she's the Eat, Pray, Love lady. And so Big Magic was, you know, the premise of the book is essentially ideas like visit us. You know, like they come and like visit us like in our dreams and our interactions with people, and like the idea really wants to be put into fruition. The
Right.
idea really wants to be birthed in that way. But if you don't do anything about it, it'll go find another person to hopefully inspire into action, into doing that. And so I felt like this was my chance. I was like, yes. Like,
That's definitely happened to me before. I've thought of something the next day, not the next day, but maybe like a couple months later.
Yeah.
One of like the people that I'm pretty close to were doing it. I didn't tell them anything about it, but apparently it was happening, and I was like, I'm so upset that I didn't just
that you
go
didn't
for
do
it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
But-
so it's a really interesting concept of like collective consciousness and like ideas like bouncing, you know, between people.
All right. So you talked a little bit about design. What do you think, or what are the different forms of art that you dabbled in before this, like, you know, your plant art and then also your web design art?
Yeah. So I don't know if I would say that it was art, but I've always been a crafty person. Like I like making things with my hands.
Right.
Or making a version of something, you know, that was like inspired by something else.
Right.
But I've always been creative since I was younger. And I think I had some disconnect with that growing up just because of what I had studied, just like not anything related to what I was doing now. But yeah, I had a little bit of a break and I was just really focused on working and all that stuff. And when the opportunity presented itself, it started to like jog my memory of all the things that inspired me. And I would say honestly, nature is probably the biggest thing that I've dabbled in when it comes to art. I love like sacred geometry and like looking at patterns that are like in the trees or leaves and like very nuanced patterns like that are naturally occurring in our environment. I think it's super cool that, you know, there's like certain patterns that repeat itself everywhere. Yeah, and too, honestly, just being in San Diego now, it's a very different art culture, creative culture out here. I think it's a little bit maybe more open. It's not like I don't really see a lot of like gender influences, or maybe just the ones that I've seen. But I really like androgynous art. Just a way for both sexes to merge, because I feel, and maybe because that's like an expression of myself, not saying that I'm androgynous, but I really appreciate like a good mix of masculinity and femininity. Definitely. In the constructs of patterns and fractions and like all that kind of fun, but also kind of boring stuff.
I think it's everybody has like their tea, you know, like everyone likes what they like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Definitely.
I like abstract too. I think like if there was a phase where I was really into abstract painting, just, you know, for my own self. I never really like showed it to anyone, but I still have those paintings at my place.
Definitely. I think that's also speaks to like, I guess like the times now where everyone is trying to like monetize everything they're doing, but sometimes you just need those different things for like your own outlets, and not everybody has to see that. Because I do like a lot of photography, but like on the side, and like like I don't need to share with everybody, at least to sell. You know, like my sister's like, oh, you should sell it. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, this is for me. Why would I don't need to monetize it.
Absolutely. And I could fully empathize with that. When I first started Euflora, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it as a business. And then I was like, I'm gonna do it as a business. And then I had overhead, and so now I've shifted that overhead, and now I don't have it, and I feel like it gives me a little bit more freedom to create things just because I want to create them, or in creating just for the sake of exercising that creativity and like artistic expression without, you know, without the jaws of like commerce on it. Like, oh, this needs to sell. Because sometimes like I don't want to sell. I just make these things and give them to people because they're fun to make.
Definitely.
If somebody was interested, sure, but it's not like buy my stuff, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that might lend to feeling differently about your work now that money and commerce is attached to it.
Definitely.
It definitely changes.
Do you think that you have like any like specific influences for like some of the things you like to create in general? Or I know you said nature, but if there's anything else or any other people?
There are some people for sure. One of my old friends, I was following her for a while, and she's a very like bright, pastel-y and feminine aesthetic to her that I've always liked. And so I find that my work is kind of like a jumble of everybody else's like influence on me. And that shows too with my web design stuff. Like I have some that are really masculine, and you know, I'm inspired by all the Travelers Club stuff. Like that's one in San Diego that's definitely has played an influence in my eye. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's one person or one group of people specifically. I think it's just a culmination of everyone that I've met in my life who's made an impact.
I think that's how I've started to reflect on things too. Like for a lot of the ideas for fashion that I've gotten, I think it's been me literally taking it from like, oh, this is this person and I like this, and this, so I'm gonna be like this today.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like call them back, even though they're not necessarily like around or even involved in your life at all.
Yeah. It's just, a way to honor what they've done too.
Right. Many hands to forge the ship.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a village, right?
Definitely. What do you think you would tell past you? The hardest question of today.
What would I tell my past self? Drink more water. No, honestly, just... Oh, damn, sorry. This guy looks really bad. I got really sidetracked.
No, I saw all the flies around it too.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
My friend. He looks rough. I hope he's better. I hope he gets better. Sorry, what were we talking? Oh, what would I tell my old self? I'll go like the realistic one and then a more like realistically, honestly, like get better with self-care. Like earlier on. The earlier on you do anything, the better, I feel. You know, like try to sleep more because sleep is good. And I was when I was growing up, I was always like, sleep is for the weak. You know, like working coffee. Oh wow.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Just get on the self-care train a lot sooner, because like I would look at my old lifestyle and think like, I don't know what I was doing. That's probably why I was really grumpy all the time at that point in my life. Keep going. You know, I never thought that I would be in this position now, so this is an interesting question because I had never really thought about it. But trust your gut, trust myself that I'm gonna make whatever is the best decision that I need to do at that given moment. And smile more.
That's happening already.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But just, you know, I never would have thought that I would be here now, and if I was gonna take it into the context of how my life is now, is exactly that. Yeah. Just get better on self-care, get better with money. You don't have to be perfect. But, you know, start somewhere.
Definitely.
Start small. Start anywhere.
I think that's I hope that speaks to everybody. So definitely speaks to me.
And speaking of that whole thing, I have a friend who would always tell me, like, if there was a huge concept that I was trying to like unpack and tackle, it's always really like tough to think about all the steps that you need to do. Like, I need to do this and this and this in order to achieve that, and that could be really overwhelming. Right. And so the best thing that she taught me was take it in small chunks. What can we do today that will? What can we do today, or 5 things that we can do today to move the project along, to move the idea along? You know, because I feel like, especially in the creative community, there's always always be creating and always be, you know, exploring these things. And while that's really good, and sometimes those things are just like such loaded questions, because they're really like existential if you think about it, and very just broad concepts that, you know, it's great to see people win, and that's like the best thing that she's told me. It's like, just take it in chunks, you're gonna get there. Yeah. It's like, oh, here I go.
I think that was one of the hardest parts for me too, is like, I want to be at this position already, but I know that there's no there's no time that I've put into it. Like, I can't just jump there.
True. True. I saw this one post recently, and it says the going the long way is actually the shortcut. You know? Yeah, definitely. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Business smackdown.
So for the future, what do you see?
definitely more collaborations and getting out into the community. I'm so fortunate and grateful that San Diego has been so good to me.
Absolutely.
You know, like these last few years, I feel like I've really made my own, you know, I feel like I've made a mark, you know, in my own small way in the community, and I want to continue giving back to San Diego in that way, whether that's helping someone who's freelancing or, you know, just want to like talk business, talk ideas, whatever. Just I want to make myself more available for that, to show up.
This is great. I'm so happy we did this.
Oh, yay!
Thank you so much for your time. We're happy
thank
to have you.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
And we'll see you all later. Thank you.